Welcome to RebootBody AI.
All right, today we're diving into something that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction, but it's totally changing the game in everything from physical therapy to pro sports. It's called blood flow restriction training. But first, let me just ask you a question that kind of flips everything we think we know about fitness on its head. Can you actually build serious muscle and strength without lifting heavy? I mean, for decades, the answer to that has been a pretty firm no way. Well, that's all starting to change.
So here's the classic problem, right? To grow muscle the old school way, you gotta lift heavy. We're talking at least 60 to 70% of your one-rep max. But what about the millions of people who just can't do that? Think about older adults or anyone recovering from surgery or an injury. For them, heavy loads are off the table. It's a really frustrating catch-22. So in this explainer, we're gonna unpack the solution. We'll kick things off by digging into that heavy lifting problem, then we'll get to the cool part, how BFR literally tricks your muscles. We'll break down the science, see who's using it, cover the super important safety stuff, and then at the end ask, is this where fitness is headed?
Okay, let's jump right into Section 1, the heavy lifting problem. You know that whole go heavy or go home attitude? It sounds great on a t-shirt, but for a lot of people, it's just a massive roadblock.
And to get a sense of just how big this problem is, get this, by the year 2050, it's projected there will be 2 billion people on the planet over the age of 60. That's a huge population that needs a safe way to fight off age-related muscle loss without the major risks that come with heavy lifting.
So, how do you solve that? How do you bridge that gap? Well, that brings us right to Section 2, tricking your muscles. This is where we introduce a pretty incredible biohack that lets your body build strength in a completely different way.
And that's where blood flow restriction, or BFR, comes in. The whole idea is actually pretty simple, but it's brilliant. You use a specialized cuff, kind of like a blood pressure cuff, high up on your arm or leg. You inflate it just enough to let blood from your arteries flow into the muscle, while slowing down the blood in your veins from flowing out.
So what's really going on inside the muscle when you do this? It seems kind of strange, right? In Section 3, we're getting into the science of the squeeze. How does simply slowing down blood flow convince your body that it's lifting something way heavier than it actually is?
Well, it all happens in 4 key steps. First, that cuff slows down the blood leaving the muscle. Because of that, the blood starts to pool up, which creates this low oxygen environment. Now, since the waste products from the exercise can't get cleared out quickly, things like lactate start to build up. And that sends all these powerful stress signals to your brain. And here's the magic. Your brain gets those signals and basically thinks, whoa, we must be doing an incredibly hard workout. So it responds by releasing a flood of muscle-building hormones, just like it would if you were lifting super heavy.
You know, a great way to think about it is this. It's kind of like giving your muscles an altitude workout, but without ever having to climb a mountain. You're creating that same low oxygen stress that forces your body to adapt and grow, all while using incredibly light weights. It's pretty amazing.
Okay, so who's actually putting this to use? In Section 4, we'll look at the incredibly wide range of people who are getting huge benefits from BFR. Everybody from patients in rehab clinics to some of the world's top athletes. And really, it's being used all over the place. For someone recovering from, say, an ACL surgery, it's a total game changer. They can prevent muscle loss without putting stress on that healing knee. It's helping older adults build back strength safely, and you've got elite athletes using it to get that muscle-building signal without all the wear and tear from heavy lifting.
And the science really backs this up. Take a look at this study on Achilles tendons. The group doing BFR with light weights saw their tendon grow by over 7.7%. Now get this, that's significantly more growth than the group doing traditional heavy lifting. And while the heavy lifting group got a little stronger, the BFR group saw amazing, comparable results with just a tiny fraction of the weight.
And that right there is the key takeaway. You are getting comparable, and in some cases even better results, with a fraction of the mechanical stress on your body. We're talking less strain on your joints, your tendons, your ligaments. This is exactly what makes BFR such a revolutionary tool.
But of course, with any technique this powerful, you have to use it the right way. And that brings us to Section 5, safety and best practices. Because BFR is proven to be safe and effective, but it's definitely not something you just want to try on your own without any guidance.
So first things first, this is not for everyone. It is absolutely critical to talk to a doctor before trying BFR, especially if you have any history of blood clots, high blood pressure, heart issues, or if you're pregnant. Safety has to be priority number 1, no question. Following the right protocol is what makes BFR work so well.
The cuff pressure isn't just a random number, it's a very specific percentage of what's called your arterial occlusion pressure. The weight is light, between 20 and 40% of your max. The reps are high, and the rest periods are short, all designed to maximize that metabolic stress we talked about. This isn't just about wrapping a band around your arm really tight, it's a precise science.
And all of this brings us to our final section, and really the big question here. Could BFR be the future of fitness? Are we starting to see a real shift towards working smarter, not just harder?
When it all boils down to it, here's the thing. BFR isn't meant to completely replace heavy lifting for people who can do it safely. Instead, think of it as a tool that democratizes strength training. It takes those powerful muscle-building benefits of high-intensity exercise and makes them accessible to almost everyone, no matter where they're starting from.
And that really leaves us with something to think about. As we keep discovering tools like BFR that give us amazing results with less overall strain on the body, are we looking at the future of personal fitness? A future that's defined less by brute force and more by biological precision. Is smarter, not harder, really the key to our long-term health and strength?
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.